Hello everyone! Today's joke of the day is, how do mathematicians cook their hamburgers? Stay tuned to find out. Our learning target for today is, I can find the mean, median, mode, and range of a data set. The mean is also known as the average. Okay, so the way to find the mean is find the sum of the data points and divide by the number of data points. The median is the middle. The way to find the median is to order the numbers from least to greatest and then find the number that is in the middle. The mode is the number that occurs the most. Okay, so the number that is listed the most. If there are no repeats at all in your data set, then you will write that there is no mode. Okay, and finally, the range is the difference between the largest and smallest values. So you'll take the largest value in your data set and subtract the smallest, and then that is your range. So let's do an example. You want to find the mean, median, mode, and range of this data set. Okay, so let's start with the mean. Okay, to find the mean, we add all the numbers together and then divide by the number of data points. Okay, so we have 13 plus 18 plus 13 plus 14 plus 13 plus 16 plus 14 plus 21 plus 13. And then we want to divide by the number of data points, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, there are 9 data points. Okay, so let me get my calculator out here. We'll add all of those numbers together and then divide by 9. 18 plus 13 plus 14 plus 13 plus 16 plus 14. 3. Okay, and so that gives us 135 divided by 9, which means that our mean is 15. Okay. Now to find the median, we have to order our numbers from least to greatest. So it looks like 13 is our smallest. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 13s, and then we have 2 14s. Just crossing these out as I go so I don't miss any or count any twice. A 16, then we have 18 and 21. Okay, so now that we have them in order from least to greatest, in order to find the one in the middle, I mark off from each end at the same time. So I'll take off the smallest and then the biggest, smallest and biggest, smallest, biggest, smallest and biggest, and since I crossed out 4 on each side, I know that 14 is my median. Sorry, I should write that over here, that this is the median, and the median is equal to 14. That's the middle of our data set here. Okay, the mode is the number that occurs the most, and 13 occurs 4 times, 14 occurs twice, and then 16, 18, and 21 just occur once each. So our mode is going to be 13 because it occurs the most. And then for our range, we'll take the biggest number and the smallest and subtract them. So we'll take 21 minus 13, which means that our range is equal to 8. Okay, and those are all of our measures of central tendency. So our mean was 15, our median was 14, our mode was 13, and our range was 8. Notice how they are all different for this same data set. They all tell us different pieces of information. All right, let's look at a couple word problems here. All right, in this case, Bill scores on his first 4 science tests are 86, 90, 84, and 91. What must Bill earn on the 5th test so that his average will be exactly 86? Okay, so here we're looking for an average, which means that we are going to want to add all of our numbers together. The average is also called the mean, right? add all of our numbers together and divide by the number of tests. Okay, and that will be our average. But we don't know what all the scores are. So we're going to have 86 plus 90 plus 84 plus 91. But the thing that we're looking for is the 5th test score. So that's going to be our variable. We're going to say plus x here. Okay, in total, there are going to be 5 tests, so we'll divide by 5. And we want that to be equal to 86. All right. Now, so in order to solve this, we want to simplify. So let's first add all of those numbers in the top of our fractions. We'll take 86 plus 90 plus 84 plus 91. And that gives us 351. So we end up with 351 plus x divided by 5 equals 86. All right, and now we can solve for x. When we have this fraction here, the first thing we want to do to solve is multiply by our denominator to get rid of that, get rid of the division. So then we end up with 351 plus x equals 86 times 5, which gives us 430. All right, and then finally, to get x by itself, we subtract 351 from both sides. Oops. All right, so we'll get that x is equal to 430 minus 351 is 79. Okay, so he should score a 79 on his test in order for his average to be exactly 86. Let's look at the next problem here. Sue's average for 9 games of bowling is 108. So we know the average is 108. What is the lowest score that she can receive for the 10th game to have an average of 110? Okay, well, we don't know what her scores were for those 9 games, but we know the average is 108. Okay, so what we can do is we can set this up as the sum of the scores, x, divided by 9 equals 108. Okay, we're going to do this so that we can figure out the score for the 10th game too. All right, so to get x all by itself, to figure out what would be the sum of those scores, we multiply by 9 on both sides. So x is equal to 108 times 9, which is 972. Okay, so it doesn't actually matter what the exact scores of each of those games were. It just matters that the sum of those scores is 972, because now we can set it up like the previous one. Right, we have 972, the sum of those scores, plus whatever the score is of the 10th game, right? And that divided by 10 is going to be equal to 110. Okay, so let's solve this just like, actually I should use a different variable here. Let's use b for the bowling score. Okay, and now we'll solve again. So multiply by 10 on both sides. We get 972 plus b equals 110 times 10. Gives us 1,100. And then we'll subtract that 972 to figure out what that score was for the 10th game. So the score for the 10th game should be 128. All right, one last example here. Olivia has an average score of 92 on 5 French tests. If she earns a score of 96 on the 6th test, what will her new score be? All right, so we figured out that when we have the average, right, we know what the average is of those 5 tests. So to figure out the sum of all of those, we would just take that's the average times 5, just like we did in the previous problem, plus the score for the 6th test, which we don't know. Oh, just kidding. We do know the score for the 6th test. We know the score is 96 for the 6th test. Okay, we know that that's all going to be divided by 6, and we just want to simplify this to figure out what the new average is. All right, so let's take 92 times 5. That's 460 plus 96 divided by 6. So we'll then add 96 556 over 6 divided by 6. So that gives us 92.6 repeating would be her score would be her new average score. Okay. All right, now for today's joke of the day. How do mathematicians cook their hamburgers? Medium rare. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.